So much to talk about, and there is a line I've written down in my notes that I was going to say for the end, but I just feel like it's better if I start with it. The Brisbane Broncos, they beat most teams tonight, most teams that have ever won the premiership, but what stopped them from winning was the single greatest performance by a rugby league player ever. So there are two lines we can run with for the title of this video. I haven't decided yet, but of course you would have seen it by the time this video goes up in the morning. But the Penrith Panthers 26-24 winners in the 2023 NRL Telstra Premiership Grand Final, the three-peat. 4 grand finals in 4 years, the three-peat. Already the best team of the NRL era, certainly the best dynasty. And when you look at it, the way the competition is now, it's harder to win a comp these days than it ever has been. The way the game has become more professional, the salary cap restrictions, the third-party payments, everyone has their own grassroots, everyone has their own centre of excellences now. And this Penrith Panthers team has managed to play in 4 straight grand finals and win 3 straight premierships. And honestly, at one point, I thought the game was gone when Ezra Mam crossed over for his hat-trick after Reece Walsh set up the try assist up. I thought it was done. I thought the Penrith were a competitive league. That three-peats just don't happen. That's why we haven't seen one since, in any sport really, since the 96 to 98 Chicago Bulls. But no, the Penrith Panthers, they came back from 8-0 up to 24-8 down to 26-24 winners. And there were so many players who had great performances on both sides of the field tonight. You know, we could talk about that, and we will talk about it. But what Nathan Cleary just produced is the single greatest rugby league performance we have ever seen. I've never seen in rugby league a player put a team on his back the same way. It was, for those who probably aren't aware and won't get this, LeBron James in 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers were 3-1 down against the best statistical NBA team of all time. He led the final series in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, the 5 main statistical categories, legitimately put a team on his back, and that is exactly what Nathan Cleary was able to do tonight. What he did in that final 20 to 25 minutes was incredible. The confidence he showed, the way he put everything on the line, the way he carried himself, the way he did everything. I can't find the words to describe it, but what he did in that 20 to 25 minute period, a live sport, no matter if it's union, league, the AFL Grand Final, boxing, MMA, anything that I've watched, and I watch a lot of stuff. I've already alluded to NBA twice in this video. I have never seen a player put a team on his back the way Nathan Cleary just did in a sport that takes a team effort. And it definitely did take a team effort tonight, but 2 try assists, a 40-20 and a try after his kick, which led to the 7-tackle set, was probably the main reason the Brisbane Broncos even started to get the ascendancy in the first place. And it was Nathan Cleary who flipped it on its head, got the try assist, kicked the 40-20, got another try assist, and then in the final moments of the game, tucked the ball, knew Adam Reynolds was weak, targeted him, got past Billy Walters, and Reece Walsh was just unfortunately too little too late and scored the match-winning try. I said it in my preview, the only weakness the Penrith Panthers and Nathan Cleary, for that matter, especially in Origin, have ever shown is that they are front foot players. They can still come back, but if there's one thing that they aren't great at, it's coming back from behind. And well, that one question mark that they had that they weren't great in, which they still could do, they just produced the greatest ever comeback in rugby league grand final history, coming back 16 points down. At one point, it looked like the Broncos were going to run away with it and put 1,000 points on the Penrith Panthers. And if there's one reason why everyone said that Nathan Cleary couldn't be in the GOAT conversation yet, it's because he was a front foot player. Nathan Cleary, on the back of a struggling forward pack, produced a 40-20 and then got the momentum, produced 2 try assists, got the try, and Jesus Christ, he's the best halfback at the moment, And I genuinely believe that he's on the same level as Cooper Cronk. We are looking at a player who is already top 5 halfbacks of all time. He's in the top 10 players in rugby league history. He's already won 3 premierships. He's won man of the matches in Origin. He just hasn't dominated it yet. One of 3 players to win back-to-back Clive Churchill medals. The guy has literally done it all except win a Wally Lewis medal. And if that's the reason he can't even the GOAT debate, then fine. But then neither is Thurston, neither is Cronk. And if that's the reason you can't put Cleary up there, well, guess what? I hate to say it. He's 25 years old. The guy who just got rubbed with a Dally M was 33. The biggest competitor as the best halfback to Nathan Cleary, and the only guy who seems to be better than him in those 3 games a year, is also 34 years old. So if they're doing that at 33 and 34, Nathan Cleary in 10 years' time, especially the way sports science is going to be insane. Another sports reference, Mick Fanning said, while he was absolutely mute, said that he was the greatest athlete he's ever seen. And that's from a 3-time world surfing champion, the greatest surfer in Australian history. What can I say about this guy? He's a freak. That was better than 2005 Joey Johns. I didn't see it, but I've watched highlights. I saw it live, so obviously I'm biased. So if you don't want to give him that, this is my generation's. This is our 2005 Andrew Johns moment. And what he did was absolutely spectacular. And we can talk about the game itself. And look, I guess we can a little bit, but I had to get the Nathan Cleary deep throating out of the way. Because if anyone deserves that this year, it's Nathan bloody Cleary. 2 try assists, a 40-20, a match-winning try. And in all of that, he had 1 error. Absolutely insane. But just to go all the way back to the beginning, the Penrith Panthers, they did have an incredible start. To only be up 8-0 didn't reflect how dominant they were in the first half. And then for the Brisbane Broncos to make it 8-6 at half time proved that Brisbane were probably the more likely of the team. And to start the second half, Jesus, weren't they? They completely dominated. Thomas Flegler's start to his second half, that stint, and Payne Haas coming on, they took full control of that game. And Ezra Mam might have the greatest performance by a player to lose a grand final. Honestly, the 55th minute mark, I was sitting there going, I was looking up if he was born in New South Wales. I was just looking up if he could play for us. I was generally thinking that Ezra Mam lock him in for an Origin debut next year, and he probably still could. That kid is absolutely insane, and we've always talked about Reece Walsh, Paddy Carrigan, Payne Haas, Adam Reynolds, and rightly so. That kid is so special. But Brisbane, they got the ascendancy, and then just a few poor ends to the set, which, unfortunately, it comes back to Adam. Fortunately, Reece Walsh, he had the error to end the game. So we're not going to blame that. But outside of his try assist, he had a very quiet first half. He had 6 touches of the footy for 30 metres and so many errors. Just too many. And we said that was a pro and a con of Reece Walsh. You can forgive the errors because he's going to be guaranteed points. And he was. Obviously, it was mostly coming off the back of Ezra Mam and Herbie Farnworth and Jesse Arthurs, who both had outstanding games. Jesse Arthurs was probably the best player for the Brisbane Broncos in that first half, but unfortunately, Walsh, look, he's going to be great. I'm not going to sit here and write him off after that because it's his first grand final. Look at Nathan Cleary after 2020. There's no reason why Reece Walsh can't produce another greatest grand final performance in 4 years' time. There's absolutely no reason. In fact, I literally had a meme loaded up that it was about the Penrith Panthers passing the baton of the young dynasty onto the Brisbane Broncos because I thought the Broncos were going to run away with it. The Broncos forwards stood up, especially in that end first half, start of the second half stint. Payne Haas, he was absolutely phenomenal. They were getting battered, especially Carrigan and Flegler, who I do think both had pretty good games overall, but he was the standout in the first half. Most metres by any Brisbane forward with 150, and he had a game-high 40 tackles and no misses. And the good thing about Payne Haas is not one of those tackles is a weak one. Sometimes the opposition might find their elbows and knees, but he never gets bumped off. Carrigan did get bumped off by Leota, which was a huge statement by Leota, but 149 metres, and he definitely was one of the key. His defence, his line speed, really had a bit of a quiet game, and Lindsay Smith were on the field. Tommy Flegler, his second stint, absolutely changed the game. they were probably the big standouts for me for the Broncos was Mam, Haas, Flegler, Carrigan, Arthurs and Farnworth. Fortunately, Reynolds, Walsh, they were probably the biggest disappointments for me for the Brisbane Broncos. Look, I still think going into next year that these two are the best teams in the competition, but you know, Cobbo as well just has a few too many errors in him. So considering the work that Farnworth did, Farnworth stopped like 3 or 4 tries in that first half. And along with Arthurs, was probably the best player for the Broncos in the first half. So replacing him, the idea is probably going to be Cobbo to centre. Look, that'll just add a bit more strike. But what are you going to lose? You know, it's going to be very, very evident because Farnworth, to me, is the best left centre in the competition. God, he and Flegler are a huge pickup for the Dolphins. But it sucks for Brisbane. I totally get it, but you got to be proud. This is the second youngest team in the comp. I know Penrith are the third youngest. This is going to be one of the great rivalries. Ezra Mam, you were definitely something special, and he probably deserves his own video. And God, there's going to be a lot to talk about in the next coming weeks. So make sure you are subscribed to the Paddy G YouTube channel. But the Penrith Panthers, we've spoken about Nathan Cleary, the greatest individual performance of all time. Stephen Crichton was absolutely insane. He got the better of Staggs. Not all night. Staggs, actually, I thought probably had a 7, maybe even an 8 out of 10 game. But God, Stephen Crichton's their strike weapon. He's the one guy all year it's been, if we need points, put a bomb up or give him early ball. And once again, Nathan Cleary gave him early ball and he was able to beat Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, and Reece Walsh to score that try. I know, we've said this all the time. They lost the best back row in rugby league. They lost the best dummy half in rugby league, which is a spine position. And we have literally seen them replace them. Not with ease, but seen them replace them and adapt. They're definitely going to have to adapt with Stephen Crichton because he's going to be such a key miss. It's different too. He's a local junior. He's grown up with Todd. He's grown up with Luai. He's grown up with Lenu, who's also going to be a big miss. But I am more faithful that they'll replace Lenu. No player is like Lenu, but you could probably say maybe Lindsay Smith starts. He'll be better for the run. And then Leota has to be the impact player coming off the bench, playing big minutes off the bench. But I don't know how they're going to replace Stephen Crichton. Obviously, they'll probably chuck Taylor May or Taruva in the centres, but they're not Stephen Crichton. Maybe Targo becomes your number 1 centre, but it's crazy, isn't it? Stephen Crichton, to me, just symbolises. He debuted in round 1 of 2020. The Penrith Panthers, that was the start of their run. Little did we know it. They knocked off the back-to-back defending premiers, and he scored in that game. And it really does feel like the end of an era. I'm not going to write off a Penrith Panthers 4-peat because I have tipped him to win the grand final the last few years. So I'm not going to go throw what's been working for me in the bin. But I think of all the players they've lost, he's going to be so hard to replace. And all week we talked about the forward battle. And I just wrapped Carrigan, Flegler, and Haas. But Leota and James Fisher-Harris, they make it personal. And front rowers, Payne Haas, he throws up these insane stats. And I thought he was probably the Brisbane Broncos' second best player on the field. Probably top 10 player on the field overall. But when we talk about forwards, the most important thing is getting the better of your opposition. And at the end of the day, that first 20 minutes and the last 10 to 15 minutes decided the game and was the difference for the Penrith Panthers. And James Fisher-Harris and Moses Leota, if you want to say that they're the best prop duo of all time, I wouldn't argue against you. In fact, I'd probably argue with 150 metres each, and they provided the platform for Nathan Cleary at the end of the game. All the Penrith Panthers players deserve a shout-out, but there's just so much to talk about, and this ain't a 3-hour podcast. This is just a battler in his room talking footy, try not to be embarrassed by his neighbours. But I'll just go back to what I said at the start of the video because it's just popped up in my notes. The Brisbane Broncos beat most teams tonight. Most teams that have ever lost a grand final, they probably beat them all. Teams that have won the premiership, they probably beat 75% of them. But tonight, unfortunately, we witnessed the greatest individual performance of all time by Nathan Cleary. And rugby league may have just found his GOAT. Don't dislike the video, like it. There's so much to talk about, but that is my immediate reaction following the 2023 NRL Grand Final. Boy, did it deliver. Channel 9, you were welcome for the ratings. I think I had them on for like 12 hours today, and I'm not going to lie, the 36-degree heat didn't really bother me because I was enjoying rugby league football. We've got more internationals coming around the corner, and the Samoan boys, let's run it back because last year you guys got really around the World Cup, and I really can't wait to provide more content on the Pacific Championship. So guys, smash that like button if you haven't already. Comment down below what was the biggest takeaway for you from this year's NRL Grand Final. Comment if you disagree with me in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.